We're about to begin Clint's story about his harrowing and near fatal experience on a film set. And I would definitely say listener discretion is advised because we are about to talk about near fatal injuries. There is a little bit of blood, there might be a little bit of gore, and it might not be best for those of you who are squeamish to those types of things. That being said, it's definitely a very profound and life changing story if you are into that. So here it is.
Clint, a couple years ago, you were up in Los Angeles Crest National Forest,
Mm-hmm.
and there was an incident where a man on a motorcycle got severely injured.
I gave you a call
Yeah,
a day after it happened.
yeah.
I was worried,
uh,
very worried.
how did explain a little bit about what happened there and how it affected your life?
So new camera came out.
Yeah,
The company contacted me and was like, "Hey, got a new camera. You want to make something cool for it? We'll give you the camera." And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I decided to do some cool like motorcycle shots up in on the Angeles Crest Highway.
yeah,
No big deal, right? Just call up some of my friends who enjoy riding motorcycles, and I got two people. One of them was a good friend of mine. The other was a friend or an acquaintance of an acquaintance.
uh
I didn't know the guy.
yeah,
So we met in Pasadena, and we decided, hey guys, just want to get some cool shots of you guys riding around. We'll treat it like I'll cut it together like it's a chase sequence, you know. But I'm just gonna get really cool up close shots. We have a pickup truck. I'll be in the back of the pickup truck, filming with this sweet new stabilizer camera thing.
yeah.
You guys get essentially as close as you can, safely, and I will film you, and I'll let you know. I'll push my hand back if we need you to go back. I'll pull you forward, and we'll only max out at this speed. We're not gonna go 50. We're gonna go 25 or something. Um, that's dangerous, dude. That's super dangerous. Um, that alone, man. So we go up there, and I film one of the riders. Goes well. Before we film, I say, hey, if I ask you guys to do anything that you don't feel comfortable doing, tell me no, and we won't do it.
Yeah.
It was just verbal. There was no written thing. It's not. There's no insurance, there's no production, but it's just like a
You guys are just up there to get cool shots. Everyone was there voluntarily.
exactly.
Yeah,
So I shoot the first rider. All good. We pull over. We talk about plans for the second rider. He hasn't been filmed yet. And we're setting up a shot where it'd be as if the shot was basically this. I'm in the pickup truck. We're going like 30, right?
Mhm.
And then from out of frame, the motorcycle pulls in from the side and is going the same speed as the truck.
Mhm.
So we found a big ol' side turnoff on the road, and we had that rider positioned at the top of that turnoff. We were gonna come around the bend, pass him. As soon as he sees us, he picks up speed. We pass him. He pulls behind us
Oh, like an on ramp.
like
You're-
an on ramp.
You're
Yeah,
going on a road and there's like a on ramp that then merges in with it.
yeah.
Something like
And the
that.
camera's looking backwards. He's facing the camera, and he just pulls up to the same speed as us.
Okay.
That's what we talked about, and so we execute the shot. He's at the top of the turnoff. We come around, pass him at like 30, and he's not moving. We're like, okay, that shot's biffed. But he slowly starts to pick up. Truck is still going. He's a good like 300 feet behind us. He pulls out on the road and starts picking up. And by the time he gets halfway to our car, I'm in the back of this pickup truck filming him getting closer.
It's like 150 meters away at this point.
Yeah. The truck driver slams on the brakes. And I'll get into why he did that in a second. So he slams on the brakes. And at this point, the motorcycle is still picking up speed towards us.
And you're stopped by now.
We're not stopped. No, it happened very fast. We're not stopped. He's picking up speed. He's picking up speed. And I have footage of it, so I know that 6 seconds passed between the brakes and the collision where he hit the back of the pickup truck. And he did a double front flip over the pickup truck, over my head, and landed face first onto the pavement and slid a good like 10 to 15 feet. And I was just started screaming like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" Like, screaming.
Yeah.
And at this point, I was at the back of the pickup truck. I had slid to like the window part and boink, stand up. I run over to him, and he's making this horrible sound, like trying to breathe. And I don't touch him. I'm like pacing, trying to figure out what to do. This guy might be dead. I don't know. We're trying to call 911, but there's no service. So the other motorcyclist flies down the mountain to get service. At this point, Alex DeVecchio shows up randomly, and he's like, "What's going on?" I explain it.
He wasn't invited to the shoot. Or
No,
anything?
he was just there, dude. He just pulled up, and then he zipped down the mountain.
On a motorcycle too.
He was on his motorcycle. He was cruising around. He zips down the mountain. And at this point, like, dude, the guy, like, there's blood coming out of his mouth, and he's making this horrible, like, sound, like, trying to breathe. I'm like, Jacob, dude, you're going to be okay, man. Hang in there. It's going to be chill. It's all good. I was, like, trying to calm myself down, you know? Him at the same time, of course. No reaction from him. He's just in his world. Maybe 5 minutes later, an ambulance pulls up, and Alex caught the ambulance, or he caught a tow truck who called. Ambulance came up, and they started cutting his pants off, and cutting his shirt off, and like they left his helmet on, and eventually I heard the helicopters come in, and they told us they got all the info from us, sent us back. We went to the hospital in Pasadena that he was going to be at. So we're waiting at the hospital. We don't know if he's dead. We don't know if he is a vegetable. We don't know anything. All we know is like we need to wait here at the ER before for him to get there and figure out what's going on. So dude, I'm freaking out. At this point. I don't know what to do. I can't calm myself down. And an hour later, maybe 2 hours later of waiting there, we get news that his brain has swelled and is pressing against his skull. And he has all of these blood clots in his brain, and like they have to saw his skull open to like let the brain breathe, or else he's gonna die.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, no, man. They didn't know if he was gonna make it or not. So the next day, I call you. I'm like, Jake, here's the situation. I'm prepared to go to the jail for I don't know how long because I set up the shot, dude. I set up the shot. It was my like.
Right.
I felt like I was to blame for this whole thing. So I called you and I was like, dude, what? Like, am I to blame for this?
Yeah.
Am I going to lose all my money? Am I going to be screwed for the rest of my life? Like, and saying it now is kind of like selfish. Like, dude, is the guy going to live?
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking like, am I going to be in jail for how long? And like, am I just going to have to pay him for the rest of my life? So based on what you told me, I kind of got a peace of mind a little bit.
Yeah.
Ended up visiting him 2 weeks later, and he was like swelled up like a balloon. I had to meet his whole family. He wasn't conscious. Like I like went to go hold his hand, and he just was like holding my hand. I was like, dude, like, are you pissed at me? Or like he was out. He was out of it. I didn't know what to think. And dude, meeting his family was the worst, man. It was so bad. It was just the worst situation. So the cops got involved and they got the footage and they were like reviewing it and all this. the truck driver slammed on the brakes because he thought we were gonna pull over to meet the other rider. It's like, no, that was never discussed. Um, and it ended up I didn't talk to him for a year. The rider who's in the hospital. I didn't talk to him for a year. I found out he forgot who his cousins were. He forgot he was like number one top of class Navy Air Force. Forgot all the stuff he learned. He was like recommended by Obama to be at the top, whatever. That got cut off. Couldn't be a part of anything like that anymore. He was like number one engineer, mathematician guy. Shut down. Like it'd be like Ren times friggin' 5, just forgetting everything. Put on like 50, 60 pounds. I was like, dude, this guy's life is friggin' done. And I would check his Facebook every so often, and it'd be like, I'm so mad, I'm so pissed, and like I'd be like, oh, dude. And so I called him a year later, and I was like, after he called me. I couldn't answer. I just couldn't. I couldn't. A couple weeks passed by. He calls me. I pick up, and we talk for like 2 hours. And basically, he tells me all the things I'm telling you about his state and how he had these crazy dreams, and like he had this dream how he has some crazy dreams, man. and basically, he told me like, dude, it's not your fault. The truck driver hit the brakes. You were just filming it, and like that kind of gave me some closure as to all the things I was feeling about it.
Right.
And to see him posting on Facebook like better than ever now, and like how his life is changed for the better because of his mindset and his approach to everything, and how like nothing's gonna stop him. They told him he'd never walk again, but he's running and like all this. I'm like, dude, that was a close one. That was a freaking close one, dude.
So when did his mindset change? When he contacted you?
Um, it was around that time. It wasn't like a clear like yesterday I was this and today I'm that.
Yeah.
It definitely over time. And I still think to this day he's still like coping with it. And that was like 3 years ago in October.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, a lot of feelings
So
from that
what
situation.
did that teach you about life? What did that teach you about yourself?
Well, safety number one, communication. Let's not do anything unless we're all on the same page about it,
Yeah.
especially if it's dangerous.
Yeah.
Also, let's not do it unless we're working with stunt guys,
Yeah.
who are down for that kind of stuff. Yeah, those are a couple things.
After hearing it, the first thing I feel and think is how you should not take for granted all the things that go right in your life, even if they're small. Whether you're on like us on a film set and we do something where a guy rolls down a hill and thankfully no one rolls onto a rock or whatever, or you drop a knife while cleaning it, it doesn't stab you in the foot or whatever. But like it's just that you definitely start taking that kind of stuff for granted, like all the near misses that you have, or even the things that you do that are a little, reckless, whether they're big or small. And when you end up for the better, you're like, oh yeah, no big deal. It always happens. But even in this situation, which could have been easily prevented, or like even listening to it, it's like there's multiple points where you think, oh, someone will do something right, or someone won't do something wrong, or because that keeps happening. But then everything doesn't go the direction you think it will, and it's easy to take that for granted for sure.
It also made me realize like what am I doing, dude? I'm making films. I'm making short films on the internet,
Yeah.
and this dude almost lost his life, and he's a vegetable for a year, and he can't remember all the stuff he devoted his entire life to. Is it worth it? No. And so yeah, that's just like, dude, not worth not worth.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I think this ties into something we talked about right before we started the cast, but like I think the one of the main one of the only solaces in a situation like that is who's around you in a time like that. Like this guy, hopefully the people around him are one of the reasons why he was able to change his direction a little bit, and hopefully still to this day